Good evening, hockey fans. It is Power Rankings Week, and we are in the most powerful time of the year for the Dan K Show Power Rankings. We are in the bi-monthly period of the season. We've got Power Rankings today. 2 weeks from now, we'll have them again. 2 weeks after that, we'll have them again as we try to drill things down and eventually get to that final regular season power ranking. That lifetime in the Elite is 100% at selecting the Elite champion. 9 for 9 lifetime. In the Premier, 6 of 9 lifetime. Trying to go to 7 for 10. This is exciting. This is a big one. And we're doing this one live from Battle Creek, Michigan. We had to stop off here at Coach Tristan Jensen of the Battle Creek Colonels. Home, his humble abode. Is it abode or can't talk yet? I think it's abode. And we're here at his humble abode in icy, frigid Battle Creek, Michigan, getting ready to hit the road yet again today on to the Battle of the Axe, or the Battle for the Axe. Friday night, Minnesota Moose, Minnesota Blue Ox. This man will be on the call with me. He'll talk power rankings first before we go there. My right-hand man, my consigliere, mon frere from another mare, Lucas Hones. How we doing, baby? Just a little silent J today. Little Hones, little Jones. Let's go.
Well, we're doing pretty good. I love talking power rankings, especially this time of year because we get to fire a few more power rankings episodes out the door than we normally do. Also, big shout out here to the Toledo Cherokee for sized, flexible hats that fit my giant dome. Appreciate you guys. Also, you'll see a little bit later, another team gave us some pretty incredible swag from the Coney Cup. Before we get there, we've got a lot of hockey to talk about.
We've got a lot of hockey to talk about. 10 teams to rank in the Elite, 25 to rank in the Premier. We start in the USPHL Elite at number 10. Before we talk number 10, we talk the first team out this go-around this month, the Metro Jets. A tough schedule they had to face down in Florida at the Tampa Showcase. They come back. They drop one when they come back up to the Midwest Elite play here. A little bit of a sluggish month so far for them, but they're kind of judged in the same way the Metro Jets always are, Lucas. Yeah, it's win or else. It feels like they got to go 44-0 for you to feel like, hey, that's Metro Jets hockey. That's just how good this program is.
Well, we expected a lot out of them, from the first time that we were really getting to see some Midwest Elite hockey clash with the teams from out east. So, I think for this Metro side, they're right on that bubble. We'll see what the rest of the season brings their way.
At number 10, the first team to crack the top 10, dropping a handful of spots, 0-5 in the month of January. But the injury bug did bite this Rockets Hockey Club side. That's why they stay inside the top 10 despite the tough start to January.
Yeah, obviously, when you don't win a game in a month, that's always a tough look. But, the injury bug is a part of that. A really tough schedule, a part of that as well. I think that this Rockets side, Dan, you and I are both pretty confident in this roster, and we know that this month is an aberration.
Here's the thing. Out of those 5 losses, the Eels, the Rush, the Junior Canes, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights, all teams we will talk about. The first one being at number 9, the Wilkes Wagon, back atop the Rockets Hockey Club. Coach Wags gets mad at us every time we do this, but Wilkes the latest to win the head-to-head.
Yeah, Wilkes is a great team, right? And Wilkes and the Rockets, they're going to battle as well. Wins against Metro, the Eels in overtime, the Rockets Hockey Club, PAL. Even the losses are strong, right? You talk about TBJ, the Junior Blades, and a split series against PAL. So for Wilkes-Barre, they are on that right track. They don't worry about sitting in 9 because they know that playoff hockey is what matters.
And here's the thing. They get that OT win against PAL. Yes, you split with them, right? You get a win against the Metro team we're talking about at 11. You get a win against the Florida Eels team that's always tough. You get a win against the Rockets Hockey Club, who's right behind you at number 10. It's a good month for the Wilkes Wagon. This is a team, though, they've got to stop letting goals in the back of the net. A -1 goal differential, 116-4, 117 against. They're probably going to have to go on the road to the Rockets in the playoffs unless they get a good winning streak going. 4 games in hand on them right now for the Rockets with the same amount of points, 39 right now in the clubhouse. And you might be saying, who's at number 8? The Ocho. It's the PAL Junior Islanders. For the first time in program history, they are the highest ranked Atlantic side in the Dan K Show Power Rankings. 21-11-1-0 with 43 points. This team has been hot as a fox in a forest fire of late.
Yeah, they're 6-3, 1-0 in their last 10. The month saw them split 2 series, which you don't mind. I think the big thing for them, when you look at a split series, normally you're a little worried. Their goal differential is just massive right now. I mean, it's 142 to 97, right? So you're looking at almost about a plus 50 on that goal differential side. I like the way they play consistently. So even when they split a series, you don't worry so much.
Here's my issue right now, right? When you talk about the Atlantic, you got 3 Atlantic teams, 8, 9, 10. And I think right now the Rockets are the best team in the Atlantic. That's good. That would be the hill I die on right now. I just don't think they've played that way of late. And that's what the power ranking is all about. It's recency bias mixed with your full season, your resume, right? So the full season resume is about 50%. Your recency bias is about 50%. You're digging in there with strength of schedule. You're digging in there with who you're losing to. Bad losses, good losses, quality of win, quality of loss. What's your road schedule look like? What kind of showcases are you traveling to? PAL 8, Wilkes-Barre 9, Rockets 10. We go to number 7, a team that continues to stay in this Elite Power Rankings top 10, the Atlanta Mad Hatters, 23-11, 2-2, 50 points on the year, just 1 point behind the Tampa Bay Juniors right now, but the Juniors with a few games in hand up.
Yeah, and this is another team that when you look at a goal differential, you got to be excited here. 136 goals for, 73 goals against, 8-1-1 in their last 10. I like some of the streaks they're putting together here. The Spacemen, Metro, Bolt City, Palm Beach, all falling to this Atlanta side. When you look at the teams they've lost against, the Hitmen, the Junior Canes. The Junior Canes overtime loss, I think, is a huge representation of what this Atlanta team can really do. I have a lot of confidence in them right now.
136 goals for, 73 goals against, 8-1-1-0 in their last 10, right? This is a team that's hot right now. They win the games they should win. When they're supposed to go out, they get these 3-game series. The way Atlanta travels, they play a lot of these 3-game series on the road, 3-game series at home. That's tough to come out of there with a 3-game sweep. It is tough to win 3 consecutive hockey games. They did that twice this month. They took 3 from Palm Beach. They took 3 from the Bold City Battalion. You have to win the games you're supposed to win to be a top 10 team in the country. The Mad Hatters do just that. At number 6, moving up the ranks, the Hampton Roads Whalers. This Hampton side right now, 4th place overall in the division. You see the same thing at the Premier. We'll talk about that Premier team later on in the show. 18-11, 0-1, 37 points. The big story, they don't give up a ton of goals. They're not scoring a ton of goals with 85 on the year. They're not giving up a ton, 67 allowed.
This is a Southeast division that if you can show that you can play defense, that's going to carry you quite a bit. I think that carries a lot of what Hampton Roads is doing. They've split against Columbia, the loss coming in a shootout. Of course, I personally don't count those shootout losses. Everybody knows that. But I like the defense at this Hampton Roads side. I think that's my biggest selling point.
I had to get my posture a little bit more up because the way that we've sat, Lucas has strategically sat himself closer to the camera than I, and the forced perspective is making him appear taller than I am. And I don't like it very much. I don't see that. I'll get up here. What's up, little guy? No, but we're looking at this one. This is a Hampton Roads team that, there's winning is synonymous with this organization. They've only played 2 games thus far in January, though. That is a long off period for these guys. The rest of the division playing down in Tampa. They were getting some time off along with Potomac. And you just look, will the long layoff help? Will the long layoff hurt? That's what we're going to keep an eye on here with this Hampton team. But right now, they sit at number 6. I think the Southeast Division in the Elite is the toughest to play in and day out as of right now. They sit at number 6. Number 5, another team from that division, the Charlotte Rush. 3rd place right now, 49 points, 23-8-2-1. Hampton Roads is on an 8-game point streak just behind them. This Charlotte Rush team, 7-2-1-0 and 1-0 in this last 10-game streak.
And the Rush, their only losses come at the hands of Potomac, right? Once on overtime, once in regulation. They've beaten the Rockets, they've beaten Palm Beach, Bold City, the Florida Junior Blades. So I think for the Rush, they're kind of picking on everybody a little bit here, right? They're just choosing divisions and beating guys. Obviously, that Potomac side, very tough, but no issues again with the Rush here. I like them offensively, like them defensively. You just want to find that consistency. Yeah, they're only lost to a Potomac team that last month was sitting at number 2 in the power rankings. We haven't read them off yet. We're at the 5 spot. This is a Rush team that roster-wise will be able to battle with anybody. Chucky 3 Sticks is out there. Chucky Hockey, right? You got guys who can score the puck all throughout this roster. I mean, they're sitting here right now with 161 goals for, 90 goals against. That plus 71 number, never a bad place to be. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's good.
Yeah, I think that's good. But you look at that, it's pretty darn good for the Charlotte Rush team. I wouldn't want to be the 2 seed. I wouldn't want to be any seed in the Southeast playoffs right now. You're talking about if you're the 1 seed, like if you look at the way the playoffs shape out right now, Carolina would be 1, Potomac would be 2, Rush 3, Hampton 4. Having to play Hampton if you're Carolina, that's a tough battle, man. Having to play Charlotte if you're Potomac, there's no good place to hide right now in the Elite in the Southeast as we continue through these rankings. Next up, we go to New England, the lone representative this month in the New England division. They've been beating up on each other a lot in this New England division, and you kind of run into a situation. It's similar to what's happened in the Midwest West this year in the Premier we'll talk about later. A lot of cross-divisional beat-up, right? You're beating each other here. You're splitting a lot of series. It's hard to pick and choose who's going to step above because there hasn't been as much cross-divisional play up there. But the Northern Cyclones, Coach Plummer, the best plumber since Mario and Luigi, 22, 5-1-1, 134 goals for and only 61 against. They're on a 6-game winning streak. They're 8-2-0 in their last 10. If there's a team that is standing above the rest right now in this division, it is Northern, and I think they've got a chance to make a title run potentially this year.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, IHC, the Bruins, the Junior Bruins, the Springfield Picks all falling to the Northern Cyclones this month. They're on a pretty good win streak as well. You talk about a 6-game winning streak. You talk about wanting consistency out of teams, right? You're seeing it from the Charlotte Rush. You see that same kind of consistency with the Northern Cyclones. They go out there, they just win hockey games, and they stick to the game plan. They play Northern hockey. That is the way they win. Yeah,
and I think the showcase coming up at Cyclones Arena will be severely helpful to this Elite side, getting a chance to play teams from outside the division, getting a chance to kind of see some different looks and put on the paper just what they can do when they're playing folks outside the division. They did that in Florida. They showed up. They did what they needed to do. They're doing it again now. This is a fun. Why are you smiling so much over there? I don't like this guy's smiling like there's something going on. Like, did I mess something up?
No, you're good.
I don't like this. I don't like people to be in the same room. Because here's the thing. Normally he's in a tiny screen here, and I don't see him.
I'm right here.
Now he's right here next to me.
And I'm taller than you. I don't know what happened, but keep going.
Number 3, the Tampa Bay Juniors. And I will tell you this. In the Premier, I made a way too early prediction on who was going to win it all. It's the Metro Jets. I said at the beginning of the year before anybody dropped the puck, 3 weeks before the first hockey game was played, I said the Metro Jets were going to win a national title this year. I look at this Tampa Bay Juniors team, and I know it's not a way too early prediction, but I'm going to say this. If a team is going to win outside this really difficult Southeast division this year, a team's going to win the title, it's going to be Tampa.
Well, it's not quite an early prediction. It's kind of like a right on time prediction, right in the way of it. I mean, Tampa has put something very special together, I think, on the ice. They have doubled their goals against to their goals for, right? So it's 2-1 right now. That is an impressive ratio to have, especially at this point in the season. There are only 2 losses coming from the Junior Canes and the Eels, but this is an Eels team that they took 2 games in that series, right? So in a 3-game set, I don't mind dropping a game.
And you look at it, Lucas, I say if a team's going to win outside the Southeast, because if you made me right now tell you who's going to win it all, it's going to be one of the next 2 teams we name, because just how dominant they have been all season long. It has been relentless. It has been incredible to watch. We start at number 2, the Potomac Patriots. Lucas, it's been a tough month for this Patriots team in terms of what they're used to doing. They're used to beating everybody all the time. But 29-5-0-0, 58 points for Potomac. This team, 9-1-0-0 in the last 10. Don't look at Dan Kay's notes under there. Dan Kay's got to dig right in here real quick before he messes everything up for you, Lucas. But this is a Potomac team that's tough to deal with.
They are. And I think when you look at Potomac at the number 2, the only thing that's going to separate them from the eventual number 1 in my mind is the ability to play defense. I think the number 1 team has a better defense than the number 2 team, which, of course, defense wins championships. And defense also wins a little place in my heart as well. I'll always be biased towards great defense and great net minding. So I think for Potomac, though, I think their offense is incredibly scary. I think they absolutely can dump goals on you. They're a team that they're either going to battle you down to the wire or they're going to win by 7. Yeah. Right? That's just what they do. They do it at the elite and the premier level. So, I mean, I like this Potomac team. They're a huge threat.
Yeah, they sweep the Rush in 2 games. Both are 1-goal games. It shows you how difficult the Rush are going to be, and that's a playoff preview right there. I mean, that's going to be, can they get past the Rush? That's the biggest question for them right now if that winds up being that first-round series. They lose 1 to Carolina. They win 1 against Carolina. Not many people are winning against Carolina right now. 182 goals for for this Potomac side. 79 goals against. That is unreal. You look through this, Lucas, and there ain't anybody on planet USPHL Elite scoring the way this Potomac team is with their 182 goals for. That is the most in the league by 21 over the Charlotte Rush. This team is an offensive juggernaut, and they are nonstop. But the only team, you say nonstop, the only team that seems to be able to stop them, the only team that continues its record-breaking power rankings #1 streak, the Carolina Junior Canes. Lucas, last September, they were #1. October, they were #1. November, #1. December, #1. January, A, #1. January, B, #1. February, A, #1. February, B, #1. End of season, #1. Okay, then they were September, #1. They were October, #1. Keep these hands in the screen. They were November, #1. They were December, #1. They were January, and January here again. 15 consecutive power rankings at #1, the 31-3-0-0 Carolina Junior Canes.
You look at 158 goals for, you're tempted to say it's because of the offense. But we just talked about a Potomac team that was the best offense in the Elite. You want to talk about the best defense in the Elite, it's the Junior Canes. They have great net minding. They have great defensive discipline. They do not get beat in the neutral zone. You see it at the NCDC, at the Premier, at the Elite. Teams that dominate the neutral zone win hockey games. And the Junior Canes do not get beat in neutral ice. They are fast. They stick to you. They hit you where they can, but they play disciplined, competitive hockey. They are #1 again. I called them the best Elite team last year. I mean, they're making another run for it this year.
It's getting boring at this point. At this point.
Think about us.
It's boring.
Think about us in our jobs. It's the same name at #1 over and over.
What are we supposed to do? But like Brad Gaylord, dog.
Yeah, absolute dog.
Street Jocks,
Dog.
Jocelyn Langlois, dog.
Dog.
Lincoln Flagg, dog. Straight dog. Just a bunch of dogs. And then you look, every netminder's nasty. Every defenseman's incredible, doing their job. You got a bunch of forwards who just get the job done. They can score it in bunches. They can play a 1-0 game. They can win an 8-7 game. There isn't a style of hockey this Carolina Junior Canes Elite team can't play. They sit at #1 for the record-breaking again. They have broken their own record now 7 consecutive times. 8 was the original record held by the Charlotte Rush and Hampton Roads Whalers. They both had been 8 times in a row. 6 was second most for the Metro Jets. They had a nice streak about 3 years ago. But now we look at it. #1 overall, the Carolina Junior Canes for the 15th consecutive month. In second, the Potomac Patriots. In third, the Tampa Bay Juniors. The 4th place, Northern Cyclones. 5th overall in the country, the Charlotte Rush. At 6th, the Hampton Roads Whalers. 7, the Atlanta Mad Hatters. We are both Mad Hatters as well. Look at our hats on our heads today. At 8, the PAL Junior Islanders. Number 9, the Wilkes-Wagon, those Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights. And number 10, the Rockets Hockey Club. Our honorable mention this month, the Metro Jets. That month, there's not just this munch. We just had lunch. I think I still got food on the brain. But you know what else I got on the brain? Premier Power Rankings. Coming at you next. Welcome back, hockey fans. The USPHL Elite Power Rankings behind us. It's time for the Premier Power Rankings for only the second time ever. We've kept this 25-man format. These 25 teams will be ranked similar to how they do the college football rankings. We'll go 5 at a time for the first 20, then we'll go 1 by 1 at the final 5 so that you don't have to watch power rankings for 7.5 hours. Right, Lucas?
That's exactly right. Everyone keeps asking for 2 things. They keep asking for more teams in the power rankings, and they keep asking for shorter episodes. Those 2 things do not work. So we changed the format. We think it's better. We hope that y'all think it's better as well.
It's as well. I can't even talk for what we
it's been
can
all
do.
All day I can't talk.
Is rank hockey teams. It is time to go 25 through 21. Roll that beautiful bean footage, Lucas. 25, the Chicago Crush. At 24, the Hershey Cubs. At 23, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights. At 22, cracking the top 25 yet again, the PAL Junior Islanders. And at 21, the Minnesota Squatch. Who do you want to talk about here, Lucas?
I want to talk about this Hershey Cubs side right now. I mean, you look at this Atlantic division, obviously a lot of representatives here in the 21 to 25 spots. But I think for Hershey, their last 10 is not where you almost want it to be. But I like the strength of their wins. I like that they're winning these games, beating PAL, beating the Rockets Hockey Club in overtime. There's obviously that loss to PAL and the 2 losses to Utica, but I'm just really confident in the look of this Hershey Cubs side. We were talking about it last night. Just like the way they play. I like the look of the team this year. I think they're a good squad.
This Hershey Cubs team, Lucas, they play a professional style. That's been a big story from coaches that I've talked to that have played against Hershey or watched film on Hershey throughout the league. They say, they've got almost a Bruce Boudreau style. They play similar to that Boudreauian style, right? And you got Coach Thompson back there. You got Coach Boudreau back there. Brady doing a great job of that team. Brady, dog. Absolute dog. 100% we love him as well. And just, this is a team that gets it right now. And watching this Hershey Cubs organization really grow in year 2 has been fun to watch. A team for me also in year 2 in this top 25. How about the Minnesota Squatch? Coach Pojar, Coach Woodsy. The big problem with the Squatch, we saw it down in Florida, gotta stay out of penalty trouble. When they're on, they stay out of the box, they score in bunches, they win big. When it's not there for them at a gate, sometimes they get the old penalty bug biting and they go to the box. They get guys getting tossed once in a while. This Squatch team, though, has all the makings of a national side, and I think you might be squatching out come playoff time.
Potentially. I mean, you look at what the Squatch can do, and like you say, Dan, when they're on, they're on. It's just, can they stay out of the box for those all-important playoff games?
And you talk about that Crush team at 25. This is a team, look, they play what I'm going to call it boring hockey, and that is a term of endearment. That is not meant to say that it is not great hockey. Boring hockey wins championships at times, right? They want to knock down, drag out. They want to make it tough to score, tough to find space in the neutral zone. They do a nice job controlling the puck when needed. Watch out for this Crush team come playoff time. They will be difficult to deal with as well. Let's go to 20 through 16. We start at number 20. Not often do you see a first-place team, not the top-ranked team from their division in the power rankings. The Ontario Junior Reign at 20. At 19, the Hampton Roads Whalers. At 18, the first-place Hudson Havoc. At 17, the Tampa Bay Juniors. And at 16, the first-place Utica Junior Comets. A lot of first-place sides in this 16 through 20 bracket.
Yeah, this really is. I mean, the great thing about having some more teams in the mix is that you don't have to always go first place, second place, third place, right? You can mix it up a little bit. I think one of the teams that I want to talk about is this number 17 side, this Tampa Bay Juniors organization. I mean, again, this is a team that when you look at them, they look really good, right? Yeah. They have some incredible wins under their belt. They're a team that goes toe-to-toe with teams that are consistently in the top 5, in the top 10, right? They've got, I think, some big wins against Wilkes-Barre Metro under their belt. They've beaten that Squatch side. I think Tampa is another team that we sort of talk about in the same manner that, we talk about the Cubs. Because we just like the way they look. They back it up on the ice.
It feels like this is an elite title run year for Tampa. Maybe not a premier title run year, but what I will say about the style that Coach Garrett Stroh, that Coach Kuba, and this Tampa Bay Juniors team play, they play professional hockey. They play NHL hockey. We just talked about Hershey with the same idea. It looks like an NHL game. It doesn't look like an NCAA game. Tampa's the same thing, and it's why they play well against better opponents. They beat a Squatch team in the top 25. They beat a Metro team that we'll talk about later. They're very good. They were the only team to beat Metro in the last 20 games Metro has played. They beat Wilkes-Barre. They beat the Florida Eagles once. Yes, they dropped 2 to them. Yes, they lose to Toledo, but Toledo also beat Charlotte this month. We'll talk about them in a minute. This Tampa team is tough. For me, Lucas, I've heard a lot of great things about the Hudson Havoc. This Hudson Havoc side, a first-place team right now in the Midwest West, 27-6-0-1. The big storyline is losses to the Minnesota Moose and the Wisconsin River Kings getting a chance, the Wisconsin Rapids River Kings getting that 2-0 shutout win over them. That dropped them back a little bit, but 8-2-0-0 in their last 10. The big story, not a big resume win yet. Not a resume-building win in the month of January. They're winning the games they're supposed to, which is why they're a top 25 team, but you want to see them perform and fare a little better against the top of the top.
You might see some of those resume games coming a little bit later, potentially even in the playoffs, which some teams thrive on that. They can switch it into gear for playoffs. Other teams, if they don't play those big games, it does hurt them down the stretch. We'll see which one ends up being for Hudson.
We keep moving on here. Number 16, too. Do not forget about the Utica Junior Comets. This is a team right now that looks primed and ready to make a Nationals run, and they would be the first team to host and play at Nationals since IHC did it years and years ago in this premier level. That would be exciting. That would be fun to watch. Let's go to 15 through 11 here. The Atlanta Mad Hatters, their highest ranking of the season in the Premier. They continue to climb through the rankings. At 14, the Wisconsin Rapids River Kings, their highest ranking of the season as well. I was told by these guys and was told by Coach Paul Peckman, the locker room expects to move up a little bit. This is a slight move, but again, some tough losses to put on the resume to move up higher than 14. Got to clean up the games you're supposed to clean up. They're winning against the top competition. They're struggling at times with the games that you would expect the top 15 side to win. They sit at 14. Number 13, the Metro Jets Development Program. MJDP back a few spots from last month, but still in the top 15. Yet again, they've not been outside of it all season long. At number 12, the Fort Wayne Spacemen, who made a quarterfinal run in last year's national tournament. They sit at number 12. And number 11, a team that just dropped 2 in the Coney Cup, to the Metro Jets, the Toledo Cherokee at 11.
Yeah, I mean, for Toledo, talk about them briefly. I mean, the second game was a lot better than the first game in the Coney Cup. I think Coach Kenny Miller would probably agree with that, and it just depends on whether Toledo gets a chance to play Toledo hockey, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a different game that has been in previous years. We're pretty confident in this Toledo side. But the Great Lakes will be interesting with 3 teams battling for 2 spots.
They've got 4 losses in the month, right, of January. All 4 against teams that are going to be in this top 25. An Atlanta team that sits at 15. Then you've got Nashville and Metro there. And you might ask yourself, if you're the Atlanta Mad Hatters, well, how is Toledo ranked above us? OT loss. Lucas Jones doesn't believe that overtime and shootouts exist. They're like ghosts. They're like dinosaurs to him. I don't know. Dinosaurs exist. Ghosts, potentially?
Maybe both
I
of
don't
those
know what
things.
happened there, guys. I'm trying my best. I'm sleepy. We've been on the road for like 10 days. It's chilly outside, and I'm trying to think straight. But no, Toledo, I think it's the wins for them on the resume that put them here at 11 and above Atlanta. I think that Charlotte Rush win, Carolina Junior Canes, and Tampa, all big W's for this Toledo side.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that, right? So it's again, it's a roster, it's a coaching staff, it's an X's and O's, and they just have to survive these playoffs and get their way to nationals.
Then you look at MJDP in Fort Wayne, and I'll tell you, we have been in some debates with folks about who's the number 1 in the Midwest East. Right now, standings-wise, it is MJDP with 49 points, 23-5-0-3. Fort Wayne behind them, 23-9-2-0. But Lucas, the big stat, Fort Wayne 3-0 now against MJDP in the season.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually probably the longest debate we've ever had in the history of the power rankings.
Oh,
we've talked about it for about an hour and 20 minutes firing back, and you know, it's interesting because this is one where you have to kind of look at 2 things. I look at the Fort Wayne team that kind of owns that season series. I look at the fact that I think their roster might be deeper. I think they might have more of the pieces, but this is another one of these easy toss-ups, right? The only differentiator is that 3-0 season series.
Yeah, they beat the Crush twice, which I just talked about how much I like the Crush earlier on the show. 2-0 against them. They beat MJDP just most recently. They're 3-0 against them on the season. You love that. Palm Beach Typhoon, like, look, that's a tough team. They play good D. They're going to grind it out with you, that Flanagan style. It's a good win. Your losses are Bold City, team we're going to talk about in just a few, and Atlanta, a team that we put at 15. Again, Atlanta sitting here like, hey, we beat Fort Wayne. We beat Toledo. How are we sitting at 15? For me, I think it's one of those situations where this is a Dan K. bump moment for the Atlanta Mad Hatters. Let's talk about the Atlanta Mad Hatters real quick, because I think we were kind of discussing this spot. And we said, like, how do we put them here? How do we not move them up? I want to wake up the boys in Atlanta. Their only losses in the month, Metro and Bold City, who we'll talk about. They beat the Squatch. They beat Fort Wayne. They beat Toledo. They beat Bold City. Lucas, this might be the first time in the year that I want to change Atlanta and put them even higher.
It was a long conversation about this as well. I mean, I think that Atlanta roster, we watched them a bunch, I think, in Florida. We didn't get to call a ton of their games, but we're always watching. We're always watching the boys play hockey, and they're a fast team. They're physical. There's kind of a lean to this team, and what I mean when there's a lean is, you know, some teams are kind of skating and waiting. Atlanta feels like they're always in pursuit, right? They're either always in pursuit of the puck, they're always in pursuit of a player, or they're absolutely bailing out back on defense. But I like the intensity think that shows me that they're a hungry team, and hungry teams tend to make some late moves.
Let's remind folks of Dan K's prediction last Premier Power Rankings. Lucas, do you remember it for the Florida Division, or do I need to remind you?
You should remind me.
How about this? Dan K said that this is the big storyline, I believe, for the first time in Florida Division history. In the Premier, neither the Florida Eels nor the Tampa Bay Juniors will be at Nationals. I think in the Premier, it'll be Bold City and the Atlanta Mad Hatters punching their Nationals tickets. That's how much I love this Atlanta team. I battle for them, and I did battle for them to be higher. They will climb the ranks here.
Well, the thing is, if they make it, they're probably not taking trains. They're probably going to fly, so they wouldn't punch a ticket. They'd scan a ticket. So they've scanned their tickets to Nationals, but no one's punching airline tickets anymore.
Our top 10 teams are potentially going to punch tickets to Nationals. Let's talk about them. This one's controversial. They've had some troubles with Atlanta at number 10, the Florida Eels. Lucas, you and I will talk about them in just a moment. Number 9, the Fresno Monsters, the top seed out of the Pacific right now in the power rankings. At number 8, this is a respect moment of the day, the Northern Cyclones. This is the defending Premier Champions until they're proven wrong as the defending Premier Champions. They got to get some respect. Got to put some respect on that name there. At number 7, the Nashville Spartans. And at number 6, the Carolina Junior Hurricanes. Lucas, I started at number 10. This Florida Eels team, it just feels like there is some magic missing right now. Will they find it down the stretch?
The biggest indicator for me is the lack of the overwhelming last 10 games, right? When in the past, when the Eels have hit slides, it's been a 2-game slide, a 3-game slide. But their last 10 games, as you go through the season, have not been where they've been. There just hasn't been that consistency to be able to put those streaks together. They're playing a lot of close toss-up hockey. The goal differential is great right now. The offense is firing. The defense giving up a little more than they're used to right now, but just that consistency, it just doesn't feel like it's quite there.
They did get the Squatch this month. They beat the Rockets this month. They beat Wilkes-Barre. They beat Tampa twice, which are all great wins. A tough matchup with Metro. Mm-hmm. And you got to ask the question of, did that show how great Metro is? Is Florida just kind of still figuring it out a little bit here in January? But what a game that was for Metro, I'll tell you that much. They got one loss to Tampa. They sit there 23-10-1-1, 48 points. They are currently sitting in second place. If the playoffs in the Florida Division started today, the old Rhett Boxler battling against Garrett Strout in the old student v teacher battle, the old grasshopper and what's it?
Bigger grasshopper.
Bigger grasshopper. Two grasshoppers. Maybe a praying mantis and a grasshopper. That goes the way of the praying mantis every time, though. Dan K, let's not get me started on animals. I'll start teaching you all these fun facts. Florida Eels against Atlanta Mad Hatters would be a great series. It is going to be a heck of a postseason in Florida. Lucas, Fresno at number 9. This is a team that without Noak Persson, the all-time leader in points per game in USPHL Premier history, they still played Metro tough. I think that was a great game for them. Northern, again, kind of just respecting our name right now. I don't think, we talked about it, I don't think after number 7 in the power rankings, I don't think anybody from 8 to about 20 is absolutely locked into their spot. I think 20 could have been as high as 8. Ontario at one point was all the way up there for us. 8 could be as low as 16 to 20. I think Northern was down on our list at the beginning of this. It was really tough putting this thing together this month. We don't have teams in that 8 through 25 range really stepping up and showing us who wants to be the man, right? We need the Ric Flair moment. You want to be the man, you got to beat the man. You got to start beating some guys out here through 8 through 25. Nashville, Lucas, the biggest problem with them just been that strength of schedule hasn't been there for them right now. They're looking at a Metro game coming up in February that's going to be very important for them. They got to win it if they want to try to get the 1 seed in the Great Lakes.
That's basically where we're at, right? Is now you look at this game against Metro and it becomes must win for a lot of reasons, right? There's the points that you need to get out of that. I mean, less important for them, but more important in terms of their power rankings, right? It's a game you got to win if you want to defend that 7 spot or even move up a little bit more. So I think that game is circled on their schedule. I think that game is equally as circled on Metro's schedule.
Yeah, and at number 6, the Carolina Junior Canes. This is a team that we just keep hearing from everybody, like, don't sleep on Street Jocks in his Carolina Junior Canes side. 51 points in the year from 25-8-1-0. They drop a game here and there. You know, they lost to Toledo in overtime. They lose to Potomac. But they beat Potomac this month. That's a huge one.
Yeah, no, I think beating Potomac is big. I think they're one of those teams that maybe has showed that there's some holes that you can punch in that Potomac roster, which seem pretty unbeatable throughout most of the season. And I think that comes down to coaching, dedication, and again, that word consistency. I think that's huge in the Junior Canes organization.
Now we go to the top 5 teams in the Premier. At number 5, the Bold City Battalion, Lucas. This is a team, a scary injury to Hugo Rova. We wish him and his family the absolute best, as well as this organization. Only loss in the month coming against the tough Atlanta Mad Hatters side. This Atlanta Mad Hatters team's got to win against everybody, man. I still think they should be climbing higher. ATL Mad Hatters, let us know in the comments where you think you should be ranked right now. Make sure to chirp at us. Fort Wayne Spacemen they beat. They beat the Hitmen. They beat MJDP in a shootout. They beat Nashville. They beat the Mad Hatters twice, lost to them only once. This is a Bold City team, 24-7, 2-0, 50 points, 151 goals for, 86 goals against. It's been a long time since Tampa or the Eels haven't been the top team of the Premier. Bold City, looking like they might take that number 1 seed this year.
It could be, right? And I think part of this number 5 ranking is giving up a few more goals than you'd like to see. Not bad defense by any stretch of the imagination. Their goaltending's been great. But every once in a while, they just let a few too many in, and those tend to add up a little bit. You also look at how competitive it is in the top 5. Really, they've only got 1 loss. And it was a team they beat 2 other times, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very, very thin kind of razor's edge between the top 5 teams.
We go to a team now that 3 of its 6 total losses this year have all come in the last 3 weeks. The Potomac Patriots dropping from the number 1 overall in the Premier to the number 4 overall, lose to the Junior Canes, swept by the Charlotte Rush. They got 1 win against Carolina. This is a Potomac team right now, Lucas. Has the Southeast cracked the code that is the best, most potent offense we've seen in a long time in the USPHL Premier?
Well, I think the facts would indicate yes, right? I think that there have been a crack that has been found in this what was almost unbeatable Potomac roster. I mean, you've got so much offense in Potomac; it is absurd. You have double the goals, 4 goals against, with a few extra on top for good measure, right? But what tends to happen is, if you go long enough at number 1, somebody finds a way to knock you off that pedestal. I don't think that Potomac should be worried. But I do think that those 3 losses contain some nuggets of truth for both Potomac to remain this undefeatable team and for other teams who might have to play them.
The nuggets of truth for me, of course, Chicken McNuggets, when I'm hungry and hangry and I don't want to answer any questions. If you give me an order of 5 McNuggets, they will become the nuggets.
Do they come as a 5?
A 6. A 5.
It's a 4, 6, and a 10, isn't it?
I don't know. I haven't been.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm mostly eating Dino Nugs nowadays at home.
And they come in 40 packs.
And they're wonderful, baby. Who doesn't love a Dino Nug? But let's keep going here. These guys are the Dino Nuggets of hockey, baby. The Charlotte Rush at number 3. That sweep of the Potomac Patriots, absolutely huge. They beat Wilkes-Barre this month. They beat the Rockets. Losses to Metro, loss to Toledo. Those are your 2 losses in the month. They've played the same amount of games as Potomac. They are now just 1 point behind the Patriots for the number 1 seed in the Southeast. And oh boy, how important of a 1 seed that will be come playoff time.
You know, if the Charlotte Rush had any instability or issues in their game at the start of the season, they seem to be largely eliminated. I mean, losses to Metro and Toledo, those are top teams. You know, that's going to happen when you get to this level of the game. But I think when you look at the kind of teams that they've beaten, you look at the ways that they've won, and again, you just look at an offense a defense that's a little bit better than Potomac's, right? Giving up less goals than Potomac, that might be one of the reasons why they were able to best them. I think that defense for the Charlotte Rush is one of the things that can kind of cover any small mistakes on the other end.
Yeah, this Charlotte Rush team right now is deep, right? And I think that they've got what it takes to beat Potomac. They won't see Potomac in the postseason, though. The next time they would see Potomac in a game that's going to be all-important would be Nationals, right? They're not going to get an all-important playoff series against Potomac unless something goes terribly wrong for one of those 2 sides down the stretch here. So that'll be interesting to watch the rest of the way. And Lucas, you look at the special teams of this Charlotte Rush side in the Premier, and the big story is a slow start on the power play unit. Early on in the season, we're looking at these numbers, and they just were not normal Charlotte Rush success numbers. Now look at them. First place overall in the Southeast Division in power play success, 29.1% on the power play. On top of that, 85% success on the penalty kill. Stellar on both ends of the ice. And Juxtaposed to them right now, a Potomac team that at the beginning of the year was unstoppable over the 30 percentile in power play success, now all the way down to 23.7% and under 80% in penalty kill success. That's where you're starting to see Charlotte jump the Potomac Patriots for the very first time this year in the power rankings. Charlotte the second time Charlotte was first. So this is the second time Charlotte's been above Potomac in the top 25. They are at number 3. We go to number 2. And Lucas, when you talk about power play success, the reason why I wanted to bring these statistics up earlier on today is because at number 2 overall in the country is the number 1 power play unit in all of the USPHL Premier. 31.5% success rate. The Connecticut Junior Rangers, they have won 20 consecutive games, Lucas. Mike Stanaway is a winning monster. He wins wherever he goes.
I mean, Stanaway is just doing Stanaway stuff, right? He goes from the New York Aviators, comes over to the Connecticut Junior Rangers, and he has just worked his magic, I think, with this Connecticut side. He's putting together incredible offensive numbers, scoring a bunch of shorthanded goals.
Yeah.
And I think what this team is, it's run and gun. It's firework hockey. Every single game in and game out. They hit hard, they skate fast, and they create real problems for teams. The big thing, they create problems for teams that play different styles. It's not a style of hockey that has one magic bullet against it. You've got to work, you've got to grind, and you've got to put in the work beforehand. Watch a lot of tape to even try to sniff at a win against the Connecticut Junior Rangers.
Yet again, Mike Stanaway, the highest ranking, yet again, in the history of the Connecticut Junior Rangers at the Premier. They had never once cracked the power rankings in the Premier in organization history coming into this season. They now are all the way at number 2 overall, 31-3-0-0, 62 points. Lucas, you talk about the offensive juggernaut, you talk about open ice, all this stuff. I don't know, man. This year, the defense is just as good as the offense. 245 for 78 goals against, Lucas. That's unreal. This team's allowing just above 2 goals a game. Just barely above 2 goals a game. They've got an 86.3% penalty kill success rate. They are the best power play unit in all of the USPHL Premier. They're also the best penalty kill unit in their division in the Atlantic. This team is a world beater right now. They do it in every way. They get it done offensively. They get it done defensively. They've got defensemen who are willing to stay back and play the real game they got to play. They got defensemen who can go skate like a forward. You got guys like Yaxon, who Coach Stanaway was tired of coaching against, who just watched him be a world beater. So he said, watch him be a world beater with me out in Connecticut. And now he's winning games there. This team is unreal. This team is no goner right now. This team is an absolute right here, right now type of squad. These guys are that good, Lucas. And the only team ranked above them, this team in Connecticut has won 20 consecutive games. This other team, a 20-game point streak. That is how good you have to be atop the biggest league in all the land, the USPHL Premier right now. And back at number 1, don't call it a comeback, the Metro Jets. And whoa!
Oh my gosh!
How did these get on us?
My hat even changed.
It's almost like we were just at the Coney Cup. They were the Coney Cup champs. And is it the Coney Cup championship that made them number 1? No, of course not. What it is, folks, is this. No team in the USPHL Premier will travel more to play hockey in terms of showcase hockey than the Metro Jets. They've already been to 3 showcases. They head to their 4th in Foxborough coming up in February. And when they travel to those showcases, they play the toughest or one of the toughest schedules at every showcase. So they got the strength of schedule. While doing that, this season at showcases thus far, they are 11-0-0-1. They've lost 1 time. It was a shootout loss at Tampa against Tampa. That's a long way to travel for a hockey game against a team that we said plays really good against good opponents because they play in NHL style. The only hole you can punch in this Metro Jets team right now is its power play success. 17%, still not terrible, but they make up for the 17% power play success rate with a 90% plus penalty kill unit. They don't give up goals. They don't take penalties. They play the best defense in the league. They've got 266 goals for. That is outpacing everyone else in the Premier. 21 more goals than the 2nd overall Connecticut Junior Rangers. They have then allowed 53 goals this year. That is 8 less goals than the second best defensive output by who? The Metro Jets development program with 61 goals allowed. The Northern Cyclones in third with 68 goals allowed this year. This team, 20-game point streak, a plus 213 goal differential, 11-0-1 in showcase games. They are playing the toughest schedule in the USPHL Premier that they can possibly put together. They are not hiding from games. They are not ducking opponents. They want to play against everybody, and we're here for it right now. Metro Jets have claimed the #1 spot and making me look like a genius. Guess what? It was August. It was August. You were all still on the beach. You were on your blankets and your towels with your beach balls. And who was putting in work? Who was recruiting? Who was looking at each team? Who was scouting, trying to figure out who's going to win it all so we can make a way too early prediction to look like the smartest man on the planet? This guy right here, the Metro Jets at #1. I rest my case.
Yeah, I mean, Dan pretty much said it all there. The guy's fired up right now, not just because of these absolutely incredible jackets that we got from the Metro Jets. I mean, they're dominating everybody, right? We'll always reward teams for seeking out the best competition. We'll always reward teams for challenging themselves as much as they possibly can. And when Dan says Metro has put together the most difficult schedule possible for them, they certainly have done it. They have been traveling to events. They win on the road. They win at home. They win by multiple goals a game. They've got great goalies. They are just so careful with the puck. And not that they play tentatively. They play aggressively. They get out in front of it. They just are able to not turn the puck over a bunch. I don't even mind the lack of power play success because we've seen it that when they have a good power play that doesn't result in a goal, it just builds more momentum, and odds are they're scored a goal pretty quick after it anyway. So I think for this Metro side, they are public enemy #1 for the other teams in the Premier. Everyone's probably going to be spending the next month just trying to figure out this Metro side.
100%, and I think that's the target's on their back right now. And we were at the Tampa showcase, and every showcase we say there's a team that winds up being the belle of the ball. Everyone talks about. It started the first 2 days with Bold City. People saying just how good Bold City looked, how incredible that battalion roster is. They end up at #5. The rest of the time, people were talking about the Metro Jets and saying they've not seen a better team. They've not seen more of a wagon than this Metro roster this year. Just the amount of talent in this building. Then you just go out and add a kid like Beatty from the Charlotte Rush, a team that's 3rd overall in the league in our power rankings. Like, this is a world beater in Metro. This will be a difficult side to beat. And I'll tell you what, any game between the top 10 right now in the country is going to be must-see TV. That's our Premier Power Rankings. I'm going to take a deep breath. At #1, the Metro Jets. At #2, the Connecticut Junior Rangers. #3, the Charlotte Rush. #4, the Potomac Patriots. #5, the Bold City Battalion. #6, the Carolina Junior Canes. #7, the Nashville Spartans. Sparta! #8, the Northern Cyclones. #9, the Fresno Monsters. #10, the Florida Heels. #11, the Toledo Cherokee. Roll Tribe. #12, the Fort Wayne Spacemen. Major Tom to ground control. #13, the Metro Jets Development Program. #14, the Wisconsin Rapids River Kings. #15, absolutely snubbed. They will be higher next month, I guarantee it. The Atlanta Mad Hatters. #16, the Utica Junior Comets. #17, the Tampa Bay Juniors. #18, the Hudson Havoc. #19, the Hampton Roads Whalers. #20, the Ontario Junior Reigns. Squatch out at #21, the Minnesota Squatch. #22, the PAL Junior Islanders. #23, the Volkswagen of the Knights. #24, the Hershey Cubs. And #25, the Chicago Crush. Lucas, parting words. Bye, guys. When Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night. We'd like to thank the Battle Creek Colonels, our sponsors of this week's Power Rankings. Sponsored us not just financially, but we're the home to call the Power Rankings from and to stop off for 2 days, stay warm on our route to Minnesota. For the Axe game coming up Friday night, tune in. Flow Hockey, your home for the Axe game. Stay tuned to the Dan K Show at _Dan K Show, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. We'll have updates on Nationals day in and day out. They'll be rolling towards you like a freight train down the tracks, baby. Nothing but Nationals coming at you soon when Dan K's on the mic. It's always hockey night. If you want to sponsor the Dan K Show, if you want to sponsor a Power Rankings episode, if you want to be partnered with the most watched show in junior hockey, reach out to us right now at the _Dan K Show or go to www.dankshow.com.